Hey everybody, Master Mom Amanda Olson here, and we are going over our Wednesday morning topic, the Parenting Survival Guide. We're just taking our time going through this book. Last week we talked about chapter 1 and chapter 6, which was on sharing, and then also we touched on strong-willed child. So if you'd like to watch that, you can go through the playlist of Master Mom's vlog and check that out on the YouTube channel if you want more information on that. So as we get started, I did want to go over our new website, askmastermom.com. You can email me at amanda@askmastermom.com. But I'm excited about the new website. It's got different blogs and vlogs and information on there. Also, it makes it a little easier to send in your questions through the email. And I would love for you to do that. But again, that's askmastermom.com, new website. Excited about that. Also, you can download from that site the first book, Creating a Happy and Harmonious Home. You can download that for free on the website. So that's kind of cool too. So you can share that with your friends and family. I'd love for them to stop by and take a look at that. Also, don't forget, if you want to keep getting notifications about different videos that I put up on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and hit the little notification bell, and that will alert you to different parenting topics. So on the YouTube channel and the playlist, everything's kind of organized by either the TV show, vlogs that I do. I have some personal, kind of Master Mom, and then one of my big hobbies is gardening. So I do a lot of different things about that in the yard. Usually I'm talking about, how nurturing the garden is very similar to nurturing your family, and just a lot of parallels like that. So it's one of those things, if you're interested in gardening too, trust me, nothing super helpful in that area, just kind of my musings and hobbies. So there's different playlists on there. There's also the radio show segments if you'd like to listen to those as well. So let's get right into it. So we are doing the Parenting Survival Guide. That's the second book that I wrote. And it's short topics, just topics with short explanations. I wrote it as a survival guide so that you could go quickly to that topic. Okay, I'm having an issue with this. Here's some strategies. Let's get going. All right. I also put some personal stories and different things that I've seen, different situations I've been in that people have gone through, and how it turned out when you look at it that way. So very quick, simple, easy, fast, easy to implement survival tips for parents in that book. The chapter we're going to go over today is chapter 7, which is bragging rights. We never want our kids to be, a braggart or putting others down, or, thinking they're the world's greatest in a negative way. So sometimes we can overstep a little bit with not letting them celebrate their wins and victories, or telling them it's not right to brag, which sometimes it's okay to brag and sometimes it's not. So it's not that all bragging is bad, but when and where you choose to brag, that's what's important. All right. So obviously, when you brag in a way that hurts others' feelings, or you're bragging to put somebody down, you're pushing them down, like, you guys played terrible today, we wiped the floor with you. That would be something that would be a no-no. All right, not something that we want our child to say. We want our child to say, hey, thanks for, coming out on the court today. That was a good game. You'll get us next time. That would be a more appropriate thing. So kind of having this conversation ahead of time, because remember, kids need to learn how to do everything. They even need to learn when is it okay to brag and when is it not okay to brag. So, at the end of a sporting event, for example, They usually have the two teams, pass each other, high fives, good game. It's hard. You see the team that lost, their heads are hanging down, and sometimes I've seen teams that just kind of do say negative things as they go through the line. You guys were an easy win. Y'all just negative things like that, or we beat you, or they're laughing. And then I've seen teams go through that were like, man, that was a tough game. That was a lot of fun. Can't wait to play you guys again. They're taking that winning with grace. Now, when they get in the locker room or they get in the car or they get home or whatever, you can bet that that's the time to really let all that celebration out. Did you see that play he made? You guys were awesome. That was the best. I hit a home run, guys. I've never done that. And that was really cool. And, all that celebration time, it's important to do that just in the right place. So when your child comes home and they say, oh man, I really, I did this at school today and it was so awesome and nobody else could do it as good as I could. And I was really, really excited about that. In front of you and in front of the family, that is great. That is a great thing to do, to celebrate. And you want to jump right in there and say, really, that's awesome. That is so cool. Let's, tell me about it. You don't want to stop that enthusiasm with it's not nice to brag. That is going to make your child think that it's never good to be good at something. We want them to know that it's good to be good at something and to be proud of the accomplishments that you make. Those are the things that build confidence. It is so easy. It is so easy when, for us to get stuck on the negative things in our life, to think about how we didn't do this well. I didn't say that well. I didn't perform very well. And it's harder for us to look at ourselves and say, you know what? I did that really well. Or I'm very good at this. There's some sort of guilt thing that if you think good about yourself, or you take time to say, I'm proud of myself, or to celebrate a victory, no matter what it is, it could just be that, I've been having trouble communicating with this person, and today we had a really good conversation. That's a victory. That's something you should be proud of. But we want to, lay on this guilt trip of, if I think good things about myself, if I, call my family and say, hey, I just want to let you guys know I did this really cool thing today that I'm proud of. This guilt thing comes along and we think we shouldn't do that. And where does that come from? That comes from outside. It comes from being told, which I'm not saying any parent has done this, it's a societal thing, that you're not supposed to think good things about yourself. That you're supposed to, we get humility confused with low self-esteem. Being humble is not thinking poorly of yourself. Being humble is not thinking of yourself all the time. Or look at me, look at me, look at me. Being humble is being able to be confident with yourself, be proud of yourself, and not going around rubbing it in other people to make them feel bad. So where did this guilt kind of come from? Well, it's imposed, and it can really lessen your confidence. It can make you feel like you almost, guilty for winning. You shouldn't feel guilty for winning. Or you got a promotion, or you achieved something, or you completed a project that you're proud of. You shouldn't feel guilty for feeling good about that. You should feel proud of yourself. So teaching our kids when to celebrate can really build their confidence and let them know it's okay to be good at something. It's okay to be better at something than somebody else. Because guaranteed, somebody else is going to be better at something than them. And they need to know that that's okay too. There are people that are able to achieve in this area, but they're able to achieve in this area. Those are really, really good lessons for kids to understand, and that's going to help build their confidence. So celebrating is a good thing. It's something that we really should do more of. The small things, the big things, taking time, even if it's just you stop what you're doing to listen and ask questions about why your kid's excited and celebrating. Even if it's just that much, that is just going to build a bond that, hey, I did something and my mom's proud too. That's important to do. We don't want to squelch that energy and excitement about something that people have done, especially our kids as they're learning. Now, what we want to balance that with, and a situation like this could lead to the conversation. Okay, so all right, now I'm so proud of you. You did great. When is it not a great time to go around saying how great I was today? And teaching them that when you say that to somebody that makes them feel less about themselves or tries to elevate you, I did better than you, you did terrible. Yeah, that becomes a very negative way to brag, and that's not celebrating. That's, putting yourself above others, and that is not humility. Again, humility isn't making yourself less than others. It's just making sure you don't make other people feel less than you. All right. So making sure your kids understand that. Very quickly here to conclude, I have a story about a set of twins that were going for their black belt, and the story is in the book, but just, when you're reading words on a page, you can kind of get the feeling, but I like to tell the story in person because you can kind of understand a little bit more the feelings that were going on there. Twin boys, they were about 9 or 10 years old, going for their black belt at the same day, same test. One of them passed the test, one of them didn't. And I can only imagine how difficult that is for a parent. It's hard enough when siblings are doing something and one of them does better than the other, which is going to happen. And that's a conversation that you need to have and learn to teach your children to celebrate for the other siblings' victories. That's important. But at this test, I wasn't sure how this was going to play out, because one passed the test, one didn't. You don't want to take away from the win of the kid that did such a great job. You don't want to make the kid who failed feel horrible. They're already feeling bad enough. So how do you balance it? And quite honestly, the children took care of that themselves. And it was really amazing to watch that unfold. It was really cool to see just, organic, natural emotions and support of each other from these kids. The child that got his black belt was happy. He was gracious as we were tying it on. He was smiling. We turned him around to the audience. He bows there. He's proud of himself. We have a tradition where if somebody does fail a test, we call them up anyway because they did a good job. They may not receive the belt or the award that day, but they still need to be recognized for their effort. So he comes up and he's, obviously sad. But he's so proud of his brother for getting his black belt, and he gives him that hug and tells him good job. And, and the other brother is proud, but he's not rubbing it in. He's not like over celebrating. I did it. He was, proud of himself. You could tell, and you could tell he was happy that he got it, but he also felt genuinely for his brother, and, they just kind of put their arms around each other and they understood. There was a an unspoken understanding of, I am proud of you. I'm sorry you didn't get it. But they were still brothers, and they were still friends, if you will. And, it was just really cool thing to see. And it just made it very clear how you're supposed to behave when you win and when you lose. If both of the brothers had gotten their black belts, I would imagine the celebration and joy would have been, over the top. But because somebody had a loss at that time, it was still celebration, but it wasn't over the top. Now, a few months later, when the other boy did go through the test again and earned his black belt, then the celebration was over the top, because everybody knew that, what that must have been like to have your brother pass and you not. But they were still training together and still working together. And when he did pass, everybody was so proud and so happy for him. And the person who was most happy for him was his brother. And you could just see that. And you could just see the joy and the, yes, you did it. And the, yes, I did it. And just seeing that together, that was just really a cool thing. And that's the way it should always be. And that's really a cool story to tell, share with your kids. What would you do if you won and your sister did it? Or what would you do if you lost and your sister won? Playing board games is a great place to work on those lessons and talk about that. So tell them that story, or tell them, here's something that happened. How do you think the brother who got his black belt should have acted? Sometimes kids will say, well, they shouldn't be happy. They shouldn't take their black belt. They should be, they should be sad and not celebrate. That's not right either, because you did accomplish something. He did accomplish something. He should celebrate. He should be proud. He should be happy. He should not rub it in. He should not do things that would make his sibling feel worse than he already does. But that doesn't mean that he shouldn't celebrate his accomplishment. So good conversations to have about bragging. Certainly have a trophy wall, in the kids' bedroom, or you have a special room in your house where everybody puts awards and things that they've, accomplished. Ribbons and trophies and pictures and photographs. Those are great things to celebrate. You just don't put them out on the front yard, right? So it's kind of the same thing with our words and emotions during those times. So teach your children to be proud of themselves. Don't foster any type of guilt because, they're feeling good about themselves. That's a good thing. Make sure they keep it in check, that they don't put others down, and you'll find that right balance for bragging. All right. I hope that was helpful in that topic. And if you have any other questions, again, visit the website, askmastermom.com, and you can send your questions in there and download a free copy of the Creating a Happy and Harmonious Home. I appreciate everybody's time, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Master Mom Amanda Olson.